Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 148 of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, a.k.a. the B-Man, the People's Degenerate. Verbal Graffiti is currently suspended as of the recording of this episode 148. I'm surprised it took this long, but I put out a piece of content that YouTube did not appreciate. They said it was not allowed. And now, the last 2 days, I have not been able to post new content that I've created on my YouTube channel. This is my first time being suspended, put in timeout, detention. I'm not sure how long it's going to last or if it's permanent. Hopefully, it's not permanent. If it is, I'm going to have to start posting, I don't know, on Rumble or maybe the Hub or Vimeo. I'm going to have to find another platform, which really sucks because I finally put out a reel that got over 1,000 views. My one about how I believe anyone who does improv is a loser. Improv, pronounce that word properly. It started to get a little bit of traction for me in my numbers. And immediately right after that, the video that YouTube said was inappropriate was I made a short film. If you haven't seen it, it's still up on Instagram, X, TikTok, all the platforms. Just look up Brian Glass Comic. You'll see it there. The name of it is Cocaine Ewing. And again, it's a short 1 minute. I call it a film, short film. You can call it a sketch, whatever. It's just me watching a Knicks playoff basketball game. There's a coffee table with some cocaine on it. And I'm about to snort the cocaine. But right beside on the table is a basketball card of Patrick Ewing from the 90s, and it's a don't do drugs basketball card. So Patrick Ewing, right as I'm about to snort the which was actually baking soda. It wasn't real And I looked at the card. Patrick Ewing tells me not to do drugs, so I don't sniff the drugs because Patrick Ewing, a former center of the New York Knicks, Hall of Famer, we look up the athletes. He's not doing drugs, so the B-Man's not going to do drugs. The film is it's anti-drugs. It's a PSA against hard drug use. And the B-Man, we all know, it's well documented. I do not do cocaine yet as of episode 148. I do dabble in drugs. I do ibuprofen, but cocaine is not something I've done as of yet. So it's literally, I got to stop using the word literally, but it's really, the whole concept of the film that I put together was a remake of those, if you're old enough to remember, those anti-drug commercials from the 90s where they would crack eggs and they scramble them up and go, oh, that's your brain on drugs. If you do drugs, your brain will get scrambled, or it'll have a kid jump into a pool, but there's no water, so he gets paralyzed. And this is what happened to you if you do drugs. And that's what my video was, or is hey, don't do cocaine because Patrick Ewing does not do cocaine. And YouTube was like, nope, too close. We are not going to allow that. You are not famous enough. You do not get enough views. So we're going to put the kibosh on you. So yeah, I'm in timeout. I don't know when I'll be able to post this episode 148. Thankfully, we are also a podcast. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, all the other platforms. So hopefully by next week, that when I usually release this on Monday, I am at a timeout. If not, it's not because I'm not creating content. It's just that YouTube, I'm a bad boy. I'm the people's degenerate, the B-Man. Right? I'm anti-mainstream. I go against the current. I make funny. I'm not Disney. This ain't Disney here at Verbal Graffiti, as you know. Look at my backdrop. It's a lot of smut. It's a lot of R-rated humor, NC-17. So, I'm not going, well, they took it down. I'm not going to change the content I'm doing to appease the people, the algorithms at YouTube and all the other social media platforms. We're just going to keep going. And if I get booted off of YouTube, if I get another strike, I'll find somewhere else to post these videos. It ain't like I'm getting any views on YouTube anyway. We'll get to that in episode 150. I'll give you an update on where we're at numbers-wise, but we're only at episode 148 right now. So what with that preamble? The YouTube. The spirits are getting me. No, I just got phlegm in my mouth. I just ran 4 miles. It's very humid out. I should have drank more water. I'm very low on sodium. I just got my blood taken. We'll talk about that next episode as well. But now that preamble and choke job was out of the way, I was in downtown New Haven last Friday night filming another short film narration type video I'm trying to put together. I had my camera that I'm filming this on, Sony FX3, on top of my dad's Camry, and I was filming people in New Haven. And New Haven's gone down the shitter. And New Haven is now officially a porta potty. And the reason being is because they have scooters. Scooters for sale or scooters for rent. I guess they have these in all the other major U.S. cities. I've seen them in Austin, but they've infiltrated New Haven. And now New Haven is it's a skate park for teenagers because there are scooters everywhere in downtown New Haven. They leave them on the ground. I'm surprised nobody's tripped over one and sued the city for $100 million yet. I'm filming Friday night, and they're just teenagers who are drinking, and they're weaving in and out of traffic with these scooters. They're doing wheelies. They're hopping on curbs, and there's no scooter lane. You only have the road, the sidewalk, and the bike lane, which nobody ever uses. And the scooters, for sure, are not using the bike lane. So there's scooters either in the middle of traffic, weaving in and out, or they're on the sidewalk, bumping into people. And it's all New Haven teenagers with terrible parents who let them out, at 11:30 midnight when they're like 14 years old. So you can blame the city, you can blame their parents. I'm going to blame the scooters, and I'm going to blame the city, and I guess I'll blame the parents too, but I don't actually know who the parents are. But it's dangerous. Downtown New Haven, you gotta watch out where you're walking now, because if your head's not up, if you're looking at your phone, scrolling, especially on a busy Friday, Saturday night, you're likely to get knocked over by a teenager who's probably, he's doing nips. He or she's probably, probably not the heroin, but they're probably doing fentanyl, and it's so fun wherever you see more than one scooter. That's when you have to, in New Haven anyway, that's where you have to feel for your wallet or your phone. If you're downtown New Haven and you see more than 2 scooters or one scooter in one area, just hold your valuables, because likely, from what I've noticed, and I was at New Haven late Friday night, past midnight filming, there's almost like there's a synergy. The scooters and the druggies and the bums and the teenagers, they all congregate together. They're like magnets. So if you see 2 scooters, there's likely a drug addict or somebody, maybe not an addict, but somebody who's on drugs, or a teenager who's just, hey, I'm riding around a scooter. I'm looking to get into some trouble because I have nothing else going on in my life. It's summer. I'm bored. I don't have a job. So I'm just going to ride a scooter and cause mayhem downtown New Haven. So just be careful. And I'm blaming the scooters. Downtown New Haven is not, this ain't Big Apple. This ain't New York City. This ain't LA. What is downtown New Haven? If you know, it's probably 4 blocks at most, and half of that's a hospital. The other half's Yale. You take those 2 out of the equation, you might have a 2.5 block area. We do not need scooters. They get around downtown New Haven. I don't know who convinced the city to put them there, especially in a country, the U.S. of A., the beautiful of A., where there is a obesity, not just pandemic, a plague almost, right? Isn't it something like over 50% of us are obese, and that's how we're going to combat obesity in America is by putting scooters in every major city for people to use instead of walking, maybe I need to run for mayor of New Haven. Maybe I watched The Wire. I saw, what was it, Mayor Carcetti? What the fuck was his name? I'd be a dirty mayor. If I was a mayor of New Haven, my first action when taking office would be to get rid of those scooters downtown. I can't even, I've been talking about this now for like 6 minutes. If you live in the downtown area, you know, these scooters, they're not for getting around. These scooters are for it's almost like the running of the bulls. I mean, that is what, when I see a teenager or a drug addict on a scooter, it's the running of the bulls in Spain. Like I'm jumping for a ledge, something so that I don't get hit by that scooter because I have more to lose than whoever is riding that scooter. And to be man, I don't have a lot. I don't even know if I have a YouTube channel at this point. So it's parting of the sea. Everybody who's just trying to get to their car in the parking lot, you got to run, you got to hide. The scooters have taken over. I'm not happy about it. I'm not going to do anything about it because I'm a big old pussy. I'm just going to talk shit about it on the internet in front of 10 people. Thank you very much for watching. But that's what we do here. We talk shit and we don't come up with solutions. So watch out. Put on some shin guards because those scooters downtown New Haven, they're out there and they're coming for you. And if you don't know, that you'll know soon enough because you'll get hit with one. All right, moving along. So we are anti-scooter. Although to be man, I did have a Razor scooter when I was at the University of Connecticut, but that was a manual one. Like I had to kick it. You know, it wasn't these E1s now. So I was maybe I was 20 years ahead of the curve, but hey, moving along. Catching my breath. All right. This comes from the subreddit camgirl problems. We all got them. Made an astronomical mistake on CB. I'm not sure what CB is. This was on ChatterBait. During a private show yesterday, a user requested a different angle, so I adjusted myself and the camera to a position I'd never done before. Without realizing, in the far corner of the screen, I panned too far and exposed a family photo on the wall of myself and my child. I didn't realize for about 45 seconds. I immediately fixed the view and contacted ChatterBait to remove any recordings, but I am just devastated. I don't even share photos of my child on social media, and I always make sure there is no identifying objects or photos in my stream. I feel so sick, devastated, and guilty. I still haven't received a response from CB, so who knows what will happen. Sad face emoji typed out. Well, I read through some of the replies to your post on Reddit, and like always, they were all wrong. Everybody said, everyone's response, almost unanimous, was, well, don't worry about it. The John who was paying for this private show, he was fiddling himself, and he was too focused on your jiggling boobies and what you were doing to recognize, the photo of you and your child in the corner of the room at the weird angle you had the camera at. They're wrong. They are wrong because they are not Johns, like the B-Man. Like I am a John, and I know, and I prior to probably, let's say the last 2 years, before age 38, I was amateur porn viewer like 85% of the time, other than Ella Knox and Ava Adams and Violet Myers. And once Haley Rose came on the scene, I'm like, all right, you know what, B-Man, it's time to diddle to the professionals. And I've been doing that ever since. But for the longest time, I was an amateur a consumer of amateur porn. And when I watch amateur porn, and I know to be man, I ain't the only one. Because when you watch amateur porn, primarily you enjoy watching real people, real couples do it. And there's so many videos in the thumbnail that will tell you it's an amateur couple, and then you click on the thumbnail, you open up the video, and you realize it's anything but amateur. Like, you can tell right away it's in a very sterile a hotel room with nothing on the walls. And there's nothing homey about it, and there's the bed is very it's a hotel bed, and every time I open a video, like I'm like, come on, browsers, like I'm not a 14-year-old, I'm a veteran, like I know that you're paying the 2 or the 8 people in this video money or cocaine for this scene. Like, I know this is a proper production of smut. This is not an amateur with their iPhone. So it's a long way the B-Man trying to say is when you consume amateur porn, and that's like your number one genre, when you first start watching the video, you're almost watching everything but the smut. There's a couple on the bed or a couch or wherever. Like, you'll get to that. Like, you'll get your nut to that. But you're watching everything else in the scene. It's almost like photo hunt. Like, you're okay. Like, I'm looking to see, are there posters on the wall? Is there a dog walking across the bed? Do I hear a screaming baby in the next room over as the mom is not paying attention to the baby because she's being put in a Nelson hold by some John, and she's being a terrible mother, but a great amateur porn creator. And you look at the clock, and you're looking like out, you see if there's a window you can see out of. It's just like an amateur porn scene. They will be like in an actual house, not some house in the hills or a hotel room. So that's the first clue to the B-Man that, this is an amateur scene, because there's actual real artwork on the walls, and there's pets, and it's homely. It's a homely video, homely environment. So when all these posters on Reddit who responded to your post saying, don't worry, he's focused on you, well, the B-Man, like, no, because when you watch amateur porn, like, you're focused on everything, not just the boobies that are jiggling on the screen. Yeah, you may be the main attraction, but the whole scene we're taking in. And I got to assume if this John, is paying for a VIP private one-on-one show, across the screen, when you change the camera angle to whatever he wanted, chances are that he was kind of looking at what else is in the room besides you. Because when you were going to a new angle, you were showing a new part of, I'm assuming, your bedroom. And maybe he had malicious intentions on his mind. Maybe he didn't want to see you from that weird angle. He wanted to see what the rest of your room looks like. So there's a good chance. I'll say there is a probable chance that this John noticed the photo of your child in this one-on-one VIP show. Now, I will combat that by saying I don't think you have anything to worry about. And this is coming from my perspective, so I might be wrong. Every single John is unique. I just know for myself, like when I see a real amateur scene, like I can tell it's a real amateur couple, that I find that more arousing, and I want to see more of their videos. I'm like, this is a real master bedroom. I can see the sink. Like this excites me knowing this is a real couple. This might be the only one video I get to see of them. So if what I'm getting at here is if the John who is watching you sees that there's a photo of you and your son or your daughter, that's probably going to make him like you more. Because what it does is it humanizes you. Right? Right now, you're not just an OF creator or whatever site this is you're using. You're a real human. You're a mom. You're out in the real world. And that when he makes that connection with that photo, what I believe will happen is that will make him want to have more one-on-one shows with you because you're a real human. Like there's just something sexy about knowing that you're a real person. You're not just some smut lord up there in the internet cloud. Like there's, soul to soul. You actually have a soul to you. So he's probably going to, now that he's seen that, and I do believe he's recognized he did see that photo, he'll probably pay for more like one-on-one VIP shows from you. So I think this will work out in your favor. So do not be so hard on yourself. Just scrolling through Instagram myself, I mean, so many of these moms are whoring out their kids. So many of these moms, every day, it's just photo, story of their child, and that they just pimp out their child. Like, you don't even know who the husband is, who any of the other family members is, what the mom looks like after giving birth, because every single day, it's photos and stories of that stupid child who doesn't even look that cute. So so there's what you do one, or I'll give the other moms this credit. Like when they're posting, that's the normies, the NPC moms who are posting photos of their children on social media. They're not like they're clothed in the photo. The mom, if their mom is in the photo, they're not like bent over where we can count the rivets on your butthole like you were in that scene. But again, it was an accident, and you're not the only one who's whoring out a child on social media for clout. And it was an accident. So don't beat yourself up about it. Trust me. There will be a day. Probably when your son or daughter is in high school and a friend of theirs finds a video of you being a whore on the internet, slinging your cooter for internet coins. That's going to be more devastating to you than this. But that day, hopefully, is a decade from now. So hey, it's a faux pas. The big takeaway here is, don't let the Johns dictate what you do in front of the camera. Like you do what you want to do. Don't let the John tell you what angle to put the camera at or what to do with your anatomy in front of that camera. You are the creator. You are the owner of your smut content page, whatever it is. So you gotta dictate the terms of engagement. And that's what the big takeaway you have to take away from this. I really should be a manager I should be an online pimp for all these OF creators or Chatterbait or whatever fucking site this was. Let's move along. I have another video, another short film that I made. Here you go. What a bitch. It's not my fault. I had to have told her 1,000,000 times, do not give me roadhead in this vehicle. She knows my wife drives this car. She knows I can't control myself when she's giving me roadhead. It's not my fault I ran into that pole. And now I've lost everything. My wife, she walked out on me. She took the kids. She took my baseball cards. I've been collecting these for a decade. I have nothing now. My life is over. Multilingual people, it doesn't do it for me. Like, if you tell me you speak multiple languages, the B-man, do not care. It's the least impressive thing about yourself that you can inform me of, is that you can speak Italian and French and English. Like, what? Do you know how to use a semicolon? Like, that's more impressive to me than being multilingual, because the semicolon. Okay, there was a point in my life, it might have been third or fourth grade, where when I first learned how to use the comma, all right, the period, you have the period, and then you have the comma, and I wasn't trusting myself with the use of comma. So the way I combated that in class was I only used simple sentences when I wrote essays. So for fourth, fifth, maybe even the sixth grade, I just didn't use commas. It was very simple sentences that did not need to include commas, until I think I had a teacher like, what the hell are you doing? But so there are workarounds. If you're an elementary school student watching right now, you don't need to use a comma or a semicolon. Just use very basic sentence structure, and you won't be penalized grade-wise for that. But anyways, back to multilingual. If you're multilingual from a kid, you grew up in a multilingual household and your parents spoke different languages, I'd fuck with that. Like, all right, that was just your environment. That's how you grew up. But especially, like, if you're single lingual as an adult, you know one language, and then you decide to teach yourself or watch YouTube or go to classes to learn Spanish or whatever, Arabic, whatever language, you're low IQ, because there's nothing impressive about it's just write a book. Do something impressive. Like, there's nothing you can do with a second language now, because especially there's Google Translate. So being multilingual is mute at this point, and wasting your time to learn a second language or a third language, especially past high school, that makes me judge you for how you're using your free time. Like, if you want to impress people, strangers, instead of learning Italian, buy Italian pants. So many more people will be impressed. Oh, those are Italian? You went to Italy to get those pants? They'll find that much more compelling than being able to read an Italian restaurant menu. So I'm out on multilingual people. I find you... It's funny because when you're multilingual, I'm not multilingual. To be man, I'm English barely. I slur half of my words, but I've always had this inclination that multilingual people think they're better than us single lingual people. When I actually think, I think they thinking they're better than me, single lingual person, that makes me think I'm better than you. So you think you're better than me because you're multilingual, but since you think you're better than me, that makes me think I'm better than you. So I'm willing to stare, and I won't blink. So I'm out. I'm out on multilingual people. Yeah, just buy Italian clothing. Learn how to cook Spanish food. All right. Moving along. That's just been. I need to formulate my thoughts with that. Or I need to expand on that thought that I have. It's always irked me, the multilingual people, because they keep it in their back pocket. It's something to be impressive about. Like, I don't know. I was at a brunch a couple weeks ago. There was a John there playing the piano, lovely, that's impressive. Playing a piano, an instrument that goes back thousands of years, that's impressive. Being able to speak cordial Spanish, fuck out of here with that. I'm not tipping you a quarter for that. All right, moving along. This is a photo. So if you're listening to this, it's a photo of a wife's sex toy collection. It's of mostly dildos, vibrators, the like, sex toys. And there's one sentence. Which one would you want to watch her use? Question mark. That being this gentleman's wife. Divorce. I don't want her to use any of those. I want you to divorce your wife. Hey, how many toys does your wife have to purchase before you realize that your wife does not like your dick? All right, I think once you reach double digits, you have to start questioning your own toy that's attached to yourself. This is way too many sex toys. If I was married to your wife, I'd be filing for divorce with half of these. As soon as you get to 10, like, maybe not divorce, but we're having a conversation. Hey, babe, you got 10 sex toys on the bed right now. Just cheat on me, right? It's clear that you don't like my dick, Mr. Perfect. And this is becoming way too it's costly to keep buying these sex toys to get yourself off. So just, if you need to get your freaky freak on, just cheat on me, because that will be more cost efficient than going on the internet and buying all of these sex toys. Because that's, honestly, at this point, with that many sex toys, just become a cuck. Just become a cuck and get yourself a bowl. Because with that many, with those many toys, like, I'd be checking your retirement fund if I were you, because your wife might be dipping into that to buy those to dip into her. So I fuck with sex toys, but that's over the top. That's over the top. That's how many sex toys should your wife be allowed to have? 4. 4. Your wife should be permitted to have 4 sex toys. Let's list them off. Number 1, obviously, is a Hitachi wand. That's the big boy vibrator thing. You got to have that. Then you should be allowed to have a smaller, more discreet, like, pocket pussy vibrator. Then you should be allowed to, okay, that's 2. Then 3, you should be allowed to have a normal size dildo vibrator, maybe combo. And then lastly, 4th, you should be allowed to have a suction cup dildo that you attach in your shower. That's 4. So the Hitachi wand, pocket pussy, regular old-fashioned dildo, suction cup, shower dildo. Anything more than that, you just got to go find a bowl to fuck your wife, because that's really all you need. Anything more than that is excess. Honestly, I believe that sex toys are for children. Once you graduate college, you should take all of your sex toys, you ladies, put them in a cardboard box and put them in your parents' attic, never to be seen again. It's just, you do that when you're exploring. But once you hit 25, just go the 4. The 4 horsemen, you go with those, the ones I just listed. Anything more than that, you're wasting money. I'm conservative. I'm a conservative guy. The B-man, I don't like property taxes. I don't think we should have to pay them. Or if you own property, you should not have to pay taxes on that land that you own. And you should not need more than 4 sex toys. Honestly, Like, I don't need any of these toys being inserted into your wife to get my own nut. I'm conservative. I was born at the very beginning of the internet. All I need to see going into your wife's vagina is your fingers or your penis. All right? I'm just a vanilla guy like that, conservative, all American. Like all these videos with your wife putting things, like, I don't need that. I don't need that. Certainly not to get to hawk my dick loogie to. Now, I did go to a stag party once, or it's like a bachelor type party where there was a stripper there who was putting ice cubes. She was putting ice cubes in her vagina and spitting them out. And I found that to be entertaining. So I would like to see things stuffed into your wife's vagina, but more as a carnival game, a carnival traveling circus. Like, yeah, I would like to see your wife put an egg in her vagina and then spit out a dozen eggs, or maybe like stuff a carrot up there in her vagina, let it simmer for 8 hours, and then when she pulls it out, it's a homemade stew. Something like that that's more comical, carnival-like than erotic-like. So that, just divorce your wife. She clearly don't like your wiener. It's time to have a conversation and move on. You two need to move on, and hopefully you'll live better lives without each other. All right, we're going to continue moving on here and continue reading A Salesman's Wife by the great author John Lawrence. We are the bottom of page 170. We will read 2 pages together aloud. Pamela and Alan drove toward their home as dusk began to settle over Seattle. They were both exhausted from the extreme activity of the past week, and as they sat there in the car, each of them mused privately over their turbulent experiences. Alan, Pamela said at last, what happens to us now? How do we go on? What do you mean? He asked. So much has happened, things I never thought possible. I had no right to do such a thing. I'm afraid I've ruined our marriage. No, baby, he said quietly. That's not true. It may be difficult for a while, but if there's one thing I've learned out of all this, it's that our marriage means more to me than anything in the world. We'll work it out somehow. I know it. I hope so, darling, she replied. I hope so. Despite his words of reassurance, she didn't know they could resume their lives together. What would happen when they returned to their home? How would they feel toward each other? Would love still be there? Could they forget the past and make a new future? Before she could think further on these matters, they had arrived at their street, and moments later, Alan pulled the car into the driveway. Go suck a fat one.